The unfinished masterpiece. Why your story isn't over. Yet, have you ever looked at your life and thought, this isn't how the story was supposed to go? I have some news that might change everything for you today. The most beautiful stories are rarely the ones that follow a perfect script. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Nanita Wilson, whose insights transformed my understanding of resilience and authenticity. Her powerful perspective on embracing every chapter of our lives, even the messy ones, left me profoundly moved. What struck me most about Nanita was her unwavering commitment to helping others see the value in their complete journey, not just their highlight reel. She's become something of a legend in resilience circles, a woman who has transformed thousands of lives by teaching people to embrace their full stories, scars, and all. Think about it. We're all walking around with these invisible backpacks filled with chapters we'd rather tear out of our life story. The addiction we overcame, the relationship that broke us, the career setback that felt like failure, the identity crisis that left us questioning everything. But what if those chapters aren't mistakes in your story? What if they're actually the most important parts? I remember sitting across from Nanita as she shared this perspective, her eyes reflecting both the pain and wisdom that comes from embracing every part of your journey. Your story isn't over, she emphasized, and every chapter matters. Let me tell you about Namita Thapar, now the executive director at MCure Pharmaceuticals. When she returned to India after working abroad, she didn't step into some fairy tale leadership role. Instead, she faced immense pressure and skepticism. People whispered that she only had her position because of family connections. Imposter syndrome? She had it in spades. External resistance? Absolutely. But here's what's fascinating about Namita's approach. Instead of pretending she had it all figured out, she started learning the business from the ground up. She streamlined operations, she expanded into new markets, she sought mentors outside her comfort zone. And you know what happened? Under her leadership, MCure expanded globally with innovative product launches, even during economic downturns. The magic wasn't that she avoided struggles. The magic was that she used those struggles as building blocks. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great for her. But my situation is different. Is it though? We're all writing our stories in real time. Some chapters are beautiful, some are painful, some make absolutely no sense until you read them years later. Let me share another story that Anita highlighted in our conversation. Falguni Nayar was 50 years old, yes, 50, when she left her successful corporate banking career to launch Nikah, a beauty e commerce platform. Can you imagine the voices she must have heard? You're too old. The market is too crowded. This is too risky. But Falguni understood something profound that Nanita emphasized in our interview. Your identity isn't fixed. You can reinvent yourself at any age. Instead of copying Western business models, Falguni built something specifically for Indian consumers. She prioritized trust and transparency. And today, Nika is one of India's most trusted beauty retailers, and Falguni is one of India's wealthiest self made women. The second powerful truth Nanita shared was this: there is power in owning your truth. We live in a world obsessed with image management. We filter our photos, we curate our social media, we tell people we're fine when we're falling apart inside. But what if our most powerful gift to the world isn't our perfection, but our authenticity? Namita Banka understood this principle deeply. Frustrated with poor sanitation infrastructure affecting millions across India, she founded Banca Bio. She didn't have all the answers. She faced gender bias in a male dominated industry. People questioned whether eco friendly alternatives could really work. But instead of hiding her challenges, she used them as fuel. Her personal experiences with these issues drove her innovation, not theory, but lived reality. Today, Banca Bio serves thousands across urban and rural divides. Her recognition from the Cartier Women's Initiative brought the credibility and resources needed for national scale up efforts. Her transparency about her journey didn't diminish her impact, it amplified it. This brings me to the third truth Nanita Wilson shared that resonated so deeply. Resilience and joy can coexist. We have this strange idea that healing must be solemn, that strength must be stoic, that resilience can include laughter, but that's not how real life works. You can cry in your car on the way to work and still find genuine joy in a colleague's joke an hour later. You can be processing deep grief and still experience moments of profound gratitude. You can be in the middle of the hardest chapter of your life and still find reasons to celebrate. As Nanita so eloquently put it during our conversation, life's whirlwind doesn't erase joy, it makes it more precious when you find it again. Each of these remarkable women, Namita Thapar, Falguni Nayar, and Namita Banka, demonstrated this truth. They faced immense challenges. They had moments of doubt. They probably had days when they wanted to give up, but they also found joy in the journey. They celebrated small victories. They built meaningful connections. They found purpose in their pain. And that's the invitation before all of us today. What if we stopped waiting for perfect chapters before we allowed ourselves to feel joy? What if we embraced the messy middle of our stories instead of just longing for the happy ending? What if we understood that resilience isn't about never falling? It's about finding reasons to get back up. I want to be clear about something. This isn't about toxic positivity. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. This is about the radical act of owning your whole story, the beautiful parts and the broken parts, and recognizing that as long as you're still here, that story isn't over. You know, there's a particular kind of tree called the Japanese maple that gardeners sometimes intentionally stress. They restrict water or nutrients in specific ways. And what happens? The leaves turn the most brilliant, vibrant red you've ever seen. The tree doesn't die from the stress, it transforms. That's what happens when we embrace our full stories. We don't just survive our challenges, we become more vibrant, more compassionate, more authentic versions of ourselves because of them. I think about the people in my audience right now. Many of you are in what I call your soft girl era, that sacred space where you're unlearning survival mode and rediscovering softness. You're setting down the superwoman cape. You're learning to say no without guilt. You're protecting your peace as a practice. And let me tell you, Nanita Wilson's message aligns perfectly with this journey because the soft girl era isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. It's not about having it all together. It's about embracing all the pieces of who you are. So here's my challenge to you, inspired by my conversation with Nanita. I want you to go home tonight and write down the chapter of your life that you've been most ashamed of, the one you never talk about, the one you've been trying to erase. And then I want you to ask yourself, what did this chapter teach me? How did it shape me? What strength did I discover because of it? Then I want you to share one truth about your journey with someone this week, even if it's just one person. Because somewhere, someone is living through the exact chapter you survived, and they need to know they're not alone. Your story, with all its unexpected twists, painful chapters, and unresolved questions, isn't just worth telling. It might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep writing their own. As Nanita so powerfully reminded me, as long as you're here, your story is still being written. Every chapter matters. There's power in owning your truth. And yes, resilience and joy can beautifully coexist. You are not a finished product, you are a masterpiece in progress, and the world is waiting for you to share the full, unfiltered, gloriously imperfect truth of who you are. Because in a world obsessed with perfection, your authentic story isn't just refreshing, it's revolutionary. So stop hiding the chapters that shaped you. Stop apologizing for the scars that strengthened you. And start embracing the beautiful truth that your most powerful contribution to this world might not be your success, but your story. The pen is in your hand. What will you write next?